What if I told you there was one key factor that would increase performance, make your team more innovative, more inclusive, and reduce harassment? Well, there is. It's psychological safety, and in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what this means and how you get this in your organisation. For those that haven't met me before, my name's Jenefer. I'm the founder of Silk Helix. We are a HR specialist in neurodiversity, so we support businesses to be inclusive, innovative, and productive. If that's what you want, stick around for more content, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But in this video, I'm going to be talking psychological safety, what we mean by it, what benefits are to your business, and how you achieve it. Psychological safety, in short, is the belief that you can be yourself in the workplace. You can bring your entire authentic self, as we say. And what that really means is that you can raise ideas, concerns, questions, admit mistakes without fear of being humiliated or shamed. And that is absolutely crucial to the success of any business. If you've got people around you who can't raise their concerns or their ideas, you're not going to find out the problems in your business, and you're not going to find out the new ideas either. And that's why psychological safety is so important, not just for inclusion and reducing harassment, but these are side effects that will also benefit your business. Organisations with high level psychological safety find that they have better collaboration, more innovation, employee retention is higher. It's a win-win. Why wouldn't you as an employer want these things? Why wouldn't you want people to tell you before something goes wrong for your business that they can see risks? Why wouldn't you want them asking the questions to make sure they fully understand what good looks like, what's expected of them, and what's happening within the business so that they can perform to the level that you really need them to? This is a win-win for your business and for the people in it. And not only have you got all of those business benefits, the competitive advantage that comes with psychological safety, but you will also reduce the employment tribunals, particularly those costly harassment claims. And I'll explain exactly why and how that happens. You'll hear me talk a lot about neuroinclusion, neurodiversity on this channel, and diversity as a whole has business benefits that are well documented. Psychological safety is absolutely crucial for enhancing those business benefits, those strengths. And when it comes to neurodiversity, it's about people being able to ask for the accommodations they need without any stigma. It's about being able to raise concerns, to be able to say, actually, this doesn't work for me, or I would thrive in this environment, or simply, have you thought about it this way? And thinking about things differently, that out-the-box thinking that we often are looking for in our employees. Those with neurodivergent conditions, that's what they do. They are thinking outside of the box. They don't have a box, it's a different box. They're thinking differently. And that's what's going to get those ideas, that innovation. Psychological safety is absolutely foundation to that, because without the right adjustments, accommodations, inclusive environments, people are not going to thrive. If they can't thrive, if they can't do the basics of the job, if they can't achieve, and if they don't feel safe to raise their concerns and their ideas, you're not going to get the business benefits. You're not going to get the strengths that come with having a diverse workforce. So psychological safety absolutely sits at the foundations of that. With the change in legislation last year and the duty on employers to prevent sexual harassment, psychological safety is one of the best tools that you have got to prevent sexual harassment and bullying and harassment more widely in the workplace. The reason being is that people are able to raise their concerns, to call out behaviour much earlier. Things are not likely to escalate to problematic behaviours where somebody is leaving, bringing employment tribunals, because if behaviour doesn't fit with the standard expected, people will call it out. And that's the thing about psychological safety. It is about being able to raise those concerns, call out behaviours. It's also about accountability. It's across the board, and we know accountability is also good for business, it's good for productivity, it's good for performance, all of those things as well. But accountability is absolutely crucial when we're talking about things like harassment, because some of the key tools that harassers will use to avoid detection, to avoid being held accountable, to avoid dismissal, things like denial, deflection, blaming other people, triangulation. I've got a video where I go into all of those in much more detail. But these behaviours will not work in environments where people feel psychologically safe. because people will challenge these behaviours. These behaviours are acceptable in environments where people can just shift blame. They can deny any responsibility. They can just waffle on about a whole load of other things to avoid talking about the thing you really need them to talk about. Because in psychological safe environments, people will ask direct questions. They'll be expected to answer direct questions. They'll be held accountable for their own behaviours. And on top of that, when behaviours do go below the standards expected, people will call it out and they won't be afraid to raise those concerns. And that's what's going to reduce harassment and bullying in your workplace, and again have the knock-on effect of retaining the right people, the best people, making sure there's collaboration, because if people don't feel safe, if there's bullying and things happening as well, then that's going to reduce collaboration. It's going to reduce productivity. It's going to make people have time off sick. It's going to make people leave. A whole range of things that are not good for business. Psychological safety really does sit at the foundations of exactly what you need to ensure that your business can thrive and have that competitive advantage. So how do we do this? That's the key question, the thing that everybody wants to know. And I'm going to give you 4 steps that you need to follow to make sure that you've got psychological safety in your workplace. Firstly, this needs to be modelled from the top. Lead by example has never been truer. Probably the biggest thing that I've learned as a parent to teenagers, and you're probably wondering where I'm going with this on a employment and HR channel, but parenting teenagers has taught me one of the biggest and most important things, and that is nobody learns from a lecture. We learn from the things that we want to learn from. So yes, if I go and listen to a podcast because I wanted to, or watch a video, or read an article because it's something that interests me, it resonates with me, I'm already thinking, yeah, this might be something I want to learn from. I'm going to learn from that. But nobody's going to learn from me stepping in front of them and delivering them a lecture. And the same applies when we're dealing with the workplace, we're dealing with adults. We can't lecture people about psychological safety. We can't tell people this is what we expect of them. We have to model it from the top down. We have to show examples. We have to say we're sorry, admit our mistakes. We have to discuss ideas and ask people to come back with feedback. And that then takes me on to the next one, really listening to that feedback. So yes, we have to encourage feedback. We have to ask for feedback, but we have to demonstrate that we're listening to it. And that doesn't just mean the active listening techniques. Now, I do in training teach the active listening techniques, how we show people that we're listening, that we're engaged. But it's more than that, because I can sit here and pretend to be engaged. I can give you eye contact. I can show enthusiasm for what you're saying. I can ask questions. What happens after that? Will I act on that feedback? Will I give you a reason why we can't act on that feedback, or that it's been parked for a time but we're grateful for it? These are the things that really matter and are what's going to encourage somebody to give feedback in the future. Are we shutting somebody down? And this is where your active listening techniques do come in, because it can be really easy to shut somebody down when they come in with a new idea or a concern. Or are we asking questions? Are we showing interest in them and what they've got to say? Are we making sure they feel like they've been fully heard out? Because if we are going to go back and say, actually, right now, that's not going to work. We thank you for coming with the idea, but right now that's not going to work. Or actually, we love that idea, but these things are going on and we need to park that for 6 months. Somebody's going to be much happier with that response and believe that response if you've actually taken the time, effort, energy to listen to what they've said, and that they feel like they've fully got their point across. Which also means that we need to celebrate difference and celebrate difference of opinions. Now, this has got a whole range of things and places where this would apply. So that could be differences of opinions. It could be somebody coming up with different ideas, somebody with different ways of working. It could be your neurodivergent employees asking for adjustments, accommodations that they need to be able to thrive. The key thing is we're looking for is when somebody's asking for something to be done differently, how will that enable that individual, the business, to thrive? Because that's the focus. When we're asking for adjustments, we're talking about adjustments. It can feel really scary. It can feel very negative. It can feel like we are asking for added extras, or to be let off because of a disability. And that's the stigma that comes with disability. It's a stigma that many people have spent their lives dealing with. But when we focus on these adjustments are to enable somebody to thrive, This is what will enable them to do a great job, to perform for the business. That is when you'll get the best out of people. It's when you will also get people coming forward with different ideas, different thoughts, because that's valued, it's celebrated, that diversity, and people know that they can come forward, they can ask for things, and it will be accommodated. Absolutely crucial for psychological safety and indeed for neuroinclusion. And the more we listen to those things, the less we'll find we're having to make adjustments, because we can look to the entire work environment and how we can make an environment in which everybody can thrive from the start. And finally, that also means that you need clear policies, practices, and boundaries within the workplace. One of the biggest mistakes I see businesses make, and this particularly startups, and this will be where somebody has come from a corporate environment that is perhaps very draconian in its policies. It's kind of policies for policy's sake. Nobody really knows why it's there, but you have to follow it. People feel frustrated by that. They feel constrained. They feel like their ideas can't be put forward because of these policies. All of those things make people dive in completely the opposite direction and go, we're not going to have any policies. We're going to treat everybody like adults. That's it. We don't need anything. And we do. So treating people like adults does involve being really clear with what we expect of them, being really clear with what our boundaries are. So as a business owner, it's really important that I share with my team my vision, my expectations, what good looks like to me. Because if I don't give them a chance to achieve it. I don't give them a chance because they can't read my mind, and there's every chance that they're going to produce something that they think's good, that they think is meeting my expectations, only to find it doesn't because they haven't read my mind. And that's why we need to set these things out. We need clear expectations of what behaviours are acceptable, what's expected, what good looks like. And only when we set these things down really clearly, and that doesn't mean we have to be draconian. We can allow for flexibility within that. We can allow for autonomy, for collaboration, all of those things, for ideas, for innovation. All of those things can still be allowed for within that. And in fact, if your policies don't do that, then they're doing something wrong as well. But we need something. We need that clear boundary. We need to set the standards. Either end of the scale, whether that is really draconian policies that means that people have got no room to breathe or have any control over their own working environment, right through to the other end where we go, you just do what you need to do. We trust you. You're an adult. Neither end of those work. Neither of them are going to create psychological safety. People need to know what's expected, what the boundaries are, what the standards are, so that they can work within those to achieve all of the other things that we've talked about. So that's my 4 steps to encouraging psychological safety. Make sure you are leading by example. This is not something we can lecture people on. We need to demonstrate it and show people. Make sure that we are receiving feedback, actually listening to that feedback and doing something with it. Make sure that we're celebrating and valuing difference within the room, and that we have appropriate policies, procedures and standards in place so people know what's expected of them. And psychological safety is the absolute foundation to achieving a workplace where people can come in and be themselves, where collaboration is high, productivity is high, innovation is high, and risks to your business, you are made aware of them before it goes really wrong. I hope you found this video useful. Do drop your comments and questions in the description below. I do love to hear them and we will respond to them. In the meantime, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a single video.